So here's a conversation with one of the most brilliant, inventive, kaleidoscopic, and visionary novelists we publish. Jennifer Egan is the author of 6 novels and 1 short story collection. Her editor, Nan Graham, and her literary agent, Amanda Urban, both use the same word to describe her, and that word is genius. Among her works are The Invisible Circus, a novel about sisters set in the 1970s, Manhattan Beach, a historical novel set on the Brooklyn docks during World War II, and A Visit from the GOON Squad, which won the Pulitzer Prize and the National Book Critics Circle Award for fiction. Some of those characters from A Visit from the GOON Squad reappear in her new work of fiction, The Candy House. And it is already one of the most acclaimed novels of the year. Time magazine has called it a complex, compelling read that showcases Egan's masterful storytelling. Entertainment Weekly calls it a masterpiece about searching for meaning in a crazy world. Why did you decide to call this book The Candy House, and what does that title mean to you?
This book actually had a lot of titles along the way. I really had trouble finding one that seemed right. And then I just stumbled on it in my revisions because I already had the phrase in one of the chapters in which people in the music industry are reacting to Napster and how horrifying it is to them. The idea of Napster is you give access to your computer and your music in order to get access for free. In the efforts of these music industry people to try to warn people not to engage with Napster, they consider having billboards that say, "Never trust a candy house," which is supposed to deliver the message, don't do this. It's not a bargain you want to strike, even though it may seem appealing in the moment. I love the idea of, a fairy tale iconic image that suggests the two-way effects of technology always, which is that it gives us things and it takes things away. But we have a tendency not to think about the price when we see all that nice candy, just like the kids in Hansel and Gretel, and go running toward it. And I have a sweet tooth. I love candy. So I just, the minute I thought of it, I thought, oh, a candy house. Who doesn't want a candy house?
Since you have mentioned that you had numerous other alternate titles, I think I would be remiss if I did not ask what maybe perhaps 1 or 2 of them were.
The first title was The Thing That Changes Everything, Random Walk, No Reunions. For a while, I thought it would be called Through the Trees, A Candy House, and that actually leaving it as The Candy House was the most powerful.
You don't believe that you ever really want to write a book without humor in it because you would get bored as a reader yourself, which is something that I really agree with. And obviously The Candy House is very funny throughout. I wanted to ask you about a few of the things that I found funny in it. First of all, I want to start with, of course, the band, which began in the GOON Squad, the Flaming Dildos. I'd like to know how you came up with the name the Flaming Dildos.
It just popped into my head. And I think I only, appreciated the full absurdity of it after I had thought of it. Like, come on. It's funny. I am not a very funny person. I wish I were. I'm just not someone who is good at telling jokes. I don't remember them. I'm not someone who kind of brings down the house at a dinner party ever. That's just not me. I feel like for some reason, I end up with more humor on the page. I love humor, but I don't deliver that as a person, I don't think.
I guess I want to ask you about something you said in an interview, which is that you do not generally agree with your characters, or you like to have a lot of different perspectives. You like to write from perspectives that aren't yours. And in this novel, you are writing about people who are eluding and avoiding technology, and you're also writing about some people who've embraced it. And it is very hard for me to tell as the reader where you, Jennifer Egan, fall on that spectrum. So is there some place that you do fall on that spectrum?
As a user of technology, I'm probably closer to an eluder. I fear it. I dread it. I'm bad at it. I resist it. But as a writer, I'm kind of fascinated by it because I feel like it's the great story that I've witnessed in my lifetime. I mean, I'm technically a baby boomer. I was born in 1962. And by the time I got to college, there had been no telecommunications development that I was aware of. That's 18 years with nothing happening. Can you even imagine that? Now it just feels like an eon technologically. So to go from that to what we see now, which is a kind of warp speed of virtual evolution or evolution in the virtual realm, is so extraordinary. And I can't exhaust that as a fascination.
In terms of externalizing our consciousness, you say in The Candy House, and I agree with you, that perhaps the best way of doing that is to read fiction. And certainly The Candy House did that for me. I felt like I was part of a much larger consciousness, and the book is great, and it is a pleasure to publish it. And thank you for taking the time to talk.
It's such a joy, and thank you for your advocacy and for helping me find readers. I'm so grateful.
Well, we're going to find a lot of them. And that is the word according to Karp.